On today's show, the dog world discovered a new rat race of sorts, one where the rats always win, but the dogs have the most fun. We visit one of Minnesota's most unusual cabins in the treetops and meet the duo who hopes music might help get more people outdoors.
Lives one long life.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, Laura and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
Up first, a growing dog sport.
With a bit of a rat race story to it, right out in the barn.
You've heard of a rat race, right? Well, you haven't seen anything yet. In this race, your dog is in a race to find a rat. Confused? Welcome to the fast-growing sport called barn hunt.
Rats! Yes. Good boy. Barn hunt is a scent game where the dogs are searching for live rats.
I'm sorry, live what?
This is Peyton. He was named after my nephew. He's a Dumbo male rat. First and foremost, these guys have the utmost care. They eat well, they live well, they are treated very well. Because without these guys, we don't have a sport.
In other words, these rats are the big cheese of the barn hunt game and are never to be harmed.
Find it, Bacon. Good boy.
I would describe it as hunting for rats that are secured safely in tubes so they can't be injured. And your dog just has fun hunting for them and telling you where they are. And then they also need to tunnel and to climb. She has her junior hunter title through AKC for duck hunting. And she also has shed antler hunting titles through NASHTA and UKC. So you'll see every breed of dog doing barn hunt. All breeds can love it and be really good at it.
First, your dog has to, well, smell a rat and be eager to smell it again.
And praise like it's the best thing they ever did. So just to get them excited about the smell, and then I have the rat in the tube, and we're gonna introduce them to that, because that's what they're gonna be searching for when you're in competition.
Following rat introductions, next comes the game, consisting of a maze of hay bales, tunnels, and a few hidden rats. Most dogs are naturally good at smelling a rat, but they also need to be fast at finding one too.
Good boy. So in a trial you would say, rat.
It's number one based off time. That's pretty much it, because if you call a rat and it's not a rat, then you're done.
Barn hunt has grown so much in popularity, it's now expanded globally, since rats have pretty much circled the globe.
You know, I actually thought it'd be kind of boring, but the more you do it and the more your dog enjoys it, the more fun it is. It's exhilarating when your dog finds all the rats. I'm in master now, and you never know how many rats you're gonna have, so you kind of have to read your dog and know when he's done. You know, I've been in a lot of dog sports, and barn hunt is a unique group of people. We all become very close friends.
A unique group and sport, with a special standout of the show.
The rats is truly the start of the sport. So without them, we don't have them. So they, a lot of the rules are for their safety, for how long they can work, the conditions that they live in while they're at a trial. I have 30 of them in my house. They're my pets. They live in 2-level condos and eat better than me.
Barns, bales, and tails. A doggone good time was had by all, even the rats.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut, Coors Light, Star Bank, and by Alumacraft Boats.
Up next, a story about a dream in the tops of Northwood's trees. Now, everyone wants to get away for the weekend, and at Ludlows Resort, that means a very special cabin. Poor Kirby. I bet he wishes someone would pay attention to him. Such is life for a camp dog at Ludlows. The shuttle boat keeps busy.
Hi, guys.
As guests move off the grid and out to Ludlows Private Island. Ludlows, a 70-year Lake Vermilion tradition, a classic Minnesota resort with a catch. Yes, people come for all the regular cabin getaway fun.
We're one of the last places where children can run free.
But Mark Ludlow long ago decided to sort of up the resort's ante.
We recognized that by the nature of our location, we were different, and that's being on an island.
You see, people come to exist amidst the island's birch and pine tree canopy. It is here the Ludlows found inspiration.
Sally and I, my wife and I, always had a dream of building a treehouse.
Turns out, Mark had a friend.
You bet.
Dale Mulfinger works as an architect. At the time, he also taught at the University of Minnesota.
This just has so much potential in it that I've got to get the students involved because they're all going to just really love working on it. And it will yield all kinds of possible solutions that I would never have thought of.
Students went to work on Ludlow's dream. Mark and a fellow professor took the students' best ideas and came up with this.
The solid piece is a 16-foot square, and the glassy piece is a 12-foot square. And these two squares interlock by 6 feet.
A tower to be built in the resort's wintry off-season.
My banker told me that that cabin was more expensive to build than what they traditionally loan to build a cabin. And I said, yes, but a percentage of that experience, as far as I'm concerned, is my marketing effort.
Needless to say, Mark got his loan, and the design team created one of Minnesota's most unique cabins with a view.
And so we virtually stayed with the same treehouse design, but we stacked bedrooms underneath it. It's just a fun living space. But this is our way to Dreamcatchers.
Mark loves to show off the cabin. 2 lower levels for sleeping, dining, kitchen, and living on the 3rd, and a bedroom and view up top. Oh, and whirlpools on the 2nd and 4th floors.
It has good bones. It just feels good to them to be in a cabin like that.
There's a lot of fun to this, and I think that's what makes it, puts it in such high demand.
Exactly why guests book the cabin months, even years in advance.
I saw the Dreamcatcher, and I thought that'd be really cool to go to. We were lucky in that, we got it. We were going to stay here, and we got the cabin that I wanted.
The drawback of the Dreamcatcher is that our kids are going to think that this is actually what it's like to go to a cabin.
If you ever visit Ludlows and get a bit lucky, maybe you can visit the Dreamcatcher. Just be prepared to burn calories. After all, a 4-story tower does have one shortfall. Steps aside, the tower in the pines is perfect.
I'd recommend it to anybody else except for whatever weekend we're coming back to it.
And it's fun to be up in the air. It's always fun to be up in the air, to be on a tower and look out over the world. And
oh, don't forget to give Kirby a scratch. He'll appreciate any attention. Right, Kirby?
That was a cool story. If you'd like to hear more of our tales, join us for the Minnesota Bound podcast, The Stories Behind the Stories. You can find it anywhere you find podcasts.
Still ahead, we visit one of Lake Superior's most remote lighthouses. But first, a story about brothers that are better than okay. They're Okee Dokee.
Closed captioning is brought to you by North Dakota Tourism. Craft presents Kids in the Outdoors.
Up next, we join a couple longtime friends who have dedicated their lives to the outdoors while singing about it too.
Although Leopold once said, the good life of any river depends on the perception of its music.
We don't need a motor, we don't need a sail, and we don't need no fins or gills, and we don't need a tail.
That said, Joel Maylander and Justin Lansing have the song figured out.
Can you canoe on a little boat built for two?
For these two folk singers, the journey is literally part of their music.
I wanna float down the river with you.
So we took 30 days out of our schedule and blocked it off and floated from up here down to St. Louis.
We don't need no outlets.
And wrote an album of songs, recorded it, and put it out, and it's been resonating a lot with people.
Can you canoe if there's nothing better to do?
Perhaps you've heard of Joe and Justin, music's Okee Dokee brothers.
I wanna float down a river with you.
Can I get a little five from you?
Today, these two drift the Mississippi River again.
Good to meet you, Nigel. You ready for this?
This time with company.
There you go.
Well, welcome. We got a really fun day planned today. We have the Okee Dokee brothers here to paddle with us.
Anybody want to go paddle down a river with us today?
Justin and Joe hope to share the river and their passion with kids from Wilderness Inquiry.
We'll haul away Joe to buy a dog and a muddy old hog and marry Susiana. Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe.
12 canoes, we're gonna fill them up, head down river, and play a little concert. Play some bluegrass and folk music for the kids today.
And we're going to see the wilderness of the urban Minneapolis area.
Way haul away, we'll haul away Joe. Much to her chagrin, I don't have an employer.
Justin and I wrote an album about canoeing down the Mississippi River. It's pretty special to actually kind of practice what you preach and see your message in action.
We'll haul away Joe.
The music industry heard their message loud and clear.
Back to Minnesota.
Can You Canoe won the 2012 Grammy for Best Children's Album.
Way haul away, we're bound for better weather.
These days, the Okee Dokee brothers are on their third album, but their goals still remain the same: getting kids outdoors.
Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a raftman's life for me.
It doesn't take a 30-day trip to enjoy wilderness. It takes going out and being inspired a little bit, and if they've heard some of our music and watched our videos, they'll know what it's kind of all about. And I think that just leads into more time outside. Made it. Stayed in the boat the whole time, didn't even capsize. We saw a bald eagle. It was amazing.
Was that fun?
So next, eat a little lunch and have a little concert. It's gonna be fun. Right here on the river, right on the beach.
Justin and I, we've grown up together, so I've known him since I was 3 years old. Our friendship kind of bonded around outdoor adventures.
And it still does.
Should we do a concert?
Well, a river lives one long life, from the raindrops to the sea.
Sometimes it just takes a simple memory from childhood with your parents of spending time outdoors and enjoying the breeze and nice music that can stay with these kids for a lifetime.
Now that's a tune we should all sing.
Where we soon will meet again.
Still ahead, we go back in time to visit a Lake Superior icon. This lighthouse still stands tall.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Shields, Bent Creek Golf Club, Eden Prairie, and Otter Tail County, Minnesota.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes us out to the island called Isle Royal.
Ron Sheriff visits an iconic pile of rock called the Rock of Ages.
Those who seek tranquility in this wilderness park are seldom disappointed, but travel off the island's edge and you'll soon find a spot where even solitude gets lonely. It's a place of mystery and of legend. It's a 200-foot stone called the Rock of Ages. The rock's only inhabitant is this lonely giant, built in 1907 after 2 ships sank off a nearby reef. The Rock of Ages light created a beacon for the lost and jobs for a few hardy souls who, from April to December, called the rock their home.
Lighthouse keeping is if a guy feels sorry for himself, he's going to be lonely.
51 years ago, a young Coast Guard recruit named John Treehouse got his first assignment.
Every morning, when you turned off the light, you had to come up here and put the shades on. Then you'd sweep the deck all the way down. That's the way you lived.
Superior's pounding waves kept the job lively.
Those are steel shutters for storms.
And forced the crew to park their only transportation 30 feet up.
One man would be running a 25-foot lighthouse boat. He'd come in here, throw the boat in reverse, hook onto the main up there, and they would lift you out of the water.
For Treehouse and 4 others stationed here, life was measured not by days, but by weeks.
The time spent here was 21 days at the lighthouse, and then 7 days ashore.
Inspired by this backyard, those returning from dry land seldom came empty-handed.
They used to go to our Royal, bring back buckets full of dirt, and plant it over on the side over there, and they'd grow radishes and onions. But a storm would come along and it'd wash all the dirt away, and they'd have to start all over it.
But even on the rock, life wasn't all bad.
Right off the lighthouse here is where you could find your best fishing in Lake Superior.
And you weren't always alone. In 1933, the passenger ship George M. Cox hit a reef in heavy fog. The lighthouse keeper carried out the largest mass rescue in Lake Superior history and had 121 guests for the day. The keepers nowadays are of a different feather. Automated in the 1970s, Rock of Ages seldom sees visitors, and its once proud light shows signs of a hard life. To John Treehouse, it's like watching an ailing companion.
God, come on, lady, you need some work done.
But for now, she stands alone with only the parting words of an old friend.
The 2 best lighthouses that they have in the world are the one you're going to and the one you're coming from.
That said, the Rock of Ages is surely among the best.
Now that would be a good place to social distance.
No kidding.
Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433.